all of the justifications that people want to, hang their hats on to validate their thesis of how Bitcoin is digital gold and it's going to replace gold as a store of value or maybe a medium of exchange or both or whatever. I just don't see it. I see when I actually, look the whole thing, to me, it's just nonsense. And yes, I understand that if enough people don't think that, there is a theoretical scarcity to the Bitcoin. There's 21 million Bitcoin. There's 2.1 quadrillion Satoshis. But if you want to own a full Bitcoin, there's only 21 million of them there. Now, that could be a big number if nobody wants them. But if a lot of people want them, then maybe the number's not so big. But as long as people want to buy them and the people who own them don't want to sell them because they're convinced they're going to the moon, the price could go up. But that's the same dynamic with any pyramid or Ponzi scheme or bubble. But I think at some point, the psychology is going to turn. And a lot of people who said they would never sell their Bitcoin, they're going to want to sell some. And I think the supply of people who want to buy them is going to be exhausted.
Well, there have also been a lot of people who at one point said they would never buy Bitcoin, but have done a complete change on that. And you've been taking a lot of heat for your calls, telling people to get out of Bitcoin when it was around 3,000. Since then, as we know, it broke 60,000, around the high 50s now. One of those people who was once a Bitcoin skeptic, Mark Cuban, and he's had quite a go at you on Twitter. Now, this is the same guy who once said that he preferred bananas to Bitcoin. And Cuban is now saying he sees utility in Bitcoin. And he's made a case that Bitcoin is better than gold, telling you, and I quote, to move on because gold is dead. And here's the tweet. He said, "Let me help Peter. Gold is hyped as much as crypto. Do we really need gold jewelry? Gold can make you a ring. Bitcoin, Ethereum are technologies that can make you a banker, allow friction-free exchange of value, and are extensible into an unlimited range of biz and personal applications." Now, Peter, I know you gave it back to him on Twitter, but we're going to give you a chance to respond here. And by the way, but why is Mark wrong, in your opinion?
Well, first of all, that's the hallmark of any bubble, any speculative mania, that at some point, some of the people who were thinking rationally and were negative capitulate and join the party. They just can't resist because it's gone up so much that you have this capitulation where some of the naysayers, join the party. Now, most of the people who were negative on Bitcoin are still negative. I mean, you have a small group of high-profile people who have recently become converts. But also, when you look at a lot of these people, they've also recently become attached to crypto-related businesses. So now they've got a vested interest in the success of Bitcoin. And so I would question their objectivity when all of a sudden they're getting paid and they're involved in ventures that directly benefit from people getting into crypto. And now all of a sudden they like crypto. I mean, back a few years ago when they had no interest and no investments in crypto, they thought it was worthless and Bitcoin had less value than a banana. But now all of a sudden where they have some way of monetizing it and making money off of people buying Bitcoin, well, now they think people should buy Bitcoin. So, there's that's going on. But to the extent that some of the people have actually changed their minds and now think something that they used to think was worthless now has value, yes, I mean, I don't doubt that some people have done that. And again, that is typical of any mania, any bubble. People are eventually going to throw in the towel and capitulate after years and years of sitting on the sideline while everybody else is making fun of them. And so to me, a lot of these big people getting involved could just as easily be the sign of a top as the sign of a whole new big leg of the bull market, because what the Bitcoin bulls are saying is these big people getting involved means that even more big people are going to get involved in the future. Well, maybe not. Maybe this is it. Maybe these are all the big people that are coming in and there's nothing to follow them. It doesn't change my mind to see a Cuban or his buddy on Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful. He's also now... he's touting it. And then of course you've got Elon Musk, who is the biggest,
Sure.
in fact, he tweeted up the price of Bitcoin earlier this morning, but it's since turned around. I mean, everybody is waiting for an Elon Musk tweet as a buy signal. You know, there are a lot of people now, somebody wrote an algorithm that they buy Bitcoin every time I tweet about it. So I mean, the whole thing is, even though I just tweet about it in a negative way.
And a lot of them say that, okay, at first they were like, yes, this doesn't really have any intrinsic value beyond this idea of group consensus, which to your point is the reason that it's been going up. But then they say they've come around to the technology behind it, the crypto blockchain technologies, the Ethereum blockchains, the idea that there is going to be a need to move away from the dollar as the global reserve currency. A lot of the same arguments that you put forward towards buying gold, they say apply to Bitcoin. So
yeah, and I think they're completely.
Well, I want to just end it on this. Is there anything that could get you to flip? And is there any cryptocurrency that you could get behind?
Okay, well, first of all, you take a guy like Anthony Scaramucci. In the beginning, he was skeptical and wasn't a Bitcoin believer, but now he has a massive Bitcoin fund, and he has basically staked his reputation and really made a career-ending, I think, bet if he's wrong on Bitcoin. I get email solicitations. I guess I'm on his mailing list, and that's the only investment product that they're trying to get me to get involved with is Bitcoin. So when you have a Bitcoin fund and you're a manager of that fund and you're getting, your fees, you all of a sudden are completely one-sided and biased. You got to go out there and talk Bitcoin. You got to say Bitcoin's great, Bitcoin's the new gold, Bitcoin's going to go up. So Anthony Scaramucci has a huge vested interest now in the success of Bitcoin. What do you expect him to say? But yeah, Bitcoin is great because he makes a lot of money if you buy Bitcoin and he's managing that fund. And he needs everybody to buy Bitcoin because otherwise the price will crash and he'll lose money in his fund, because Bitcoin is all based on the greater fool coming in and buying more of it. I mean, the only cryptocurrencies that would make sense would be legitimate cryptocurrency. Just like I don't like fiat paper currency, which is paper currency that's not backed by real money. I don't like fiat digital currency. But if you have a digital currency that's backed by gold and redeemable in gold, well, then that's fine. That's great. I think that would work perfectly. The problem is governments don't like that. So if there are credible digital currencies backed by gold, everybody would prefer those currencies to the dollar, to the euro, to the yen. And so if that were to happen and you had a legitimate threat to the monopoly that central banks have, then the governments would act to shut it down. I think the reason they're not trying to shut down Bitcoin is because they don't perceive it to be an actual threat. And I agree. I think Bitcoin is only a threat to the people who are buying it, and they're going to end up losing their money. But it's not a threat to governments and central banks. But a legitimate alternative to fiat paper currency, real digital currency, stable, that can act as a medium of exchange and a unit of account and a store of value, and that solves all of these problems, which is what a real cryptocurrency backed by gold would do, that the government would probably not tolerate.